To start a new program, start with 5 minutes. Set a timer. Let's say you want to work out every day. Start with 5 minutes, same time every day if you can. And you have to set a timer for 5 minutes. Work out in those 5 minutes. And when the 5 minutes are up, you have to stop. You do that for 2 weeks. Now the body craves it.
Welcome back to the Running Wine Mom podcast. I'm your host, Samantha Selinsky, aka the Running Wine Mom. Today's guest is a creative force who refuses to fit into a box, and thank God for that. You may recognize Kerstin Schulze from HBO's The Righteous Gemstones, or from her wildly relatable, refreshingly honest approach to wellness through her brand, Party and Diet. She's an actor, a comedian, a coach, and a storyteller, and today we're talking about identity, movement, food freedom, and what it's really means to show up for yourself without losing your joy. So without further ado, let's welcome Kerstin. Welcome. I am so happy to have you on, and we are going to get right into it today. So can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
I am born and raised in Germany, Berlin West, when the wall was still up at the time, which is thankful it's not like that anymore. And I was always an athlete. I was an athlete since I can remember, 10 years old. Ran the Junior Olympics when I was 12. Won a silver medal for heptathlon. I did 7 different disciplines. Was into performing, improv. Was on stage and in theater and on TV when I was 15 in Germany. Wrote my own sketches. And then I wanted to be an actor, but my mother always said that that is not a real job, or not a secure job, better say, which is true. And she said, get a real degree. And so I got a business degree, worked in the corporate world for 10 years for AOL and CompuServe, was assistant marketing director when I left, but always had creative side in me and never left me. And then came to the United States and started my own fitness business, since athletic part was always with me. Obviously, I went to school for it, got my nutrition, my personal training license, went to college for it, started a training business 24 years ago, and got people ready in front of the camera and behind the camera. So Nicole Parker for Broadway, Chris Hemsworth, I did his nutrition when he booked Thor. So I have always been in the fitness industry, but also always around creatives. And my first acting gig was really in national commercials. I've done over 15 national commercials now, and then segued it into TV and film acting and studied with ACT and Berkeley and the Groundlings and so on.
So amazing. So I did not know that you did the Thor nutrition diet. So how did you kind of prepare for that before we go more into it? I have to ask before we move on.
He booked the role. When Chris booked the role first, he came to our house. He was friends with another friend of ours there who was in the stunt business. And I was married at the time, my husband, who was also a stunt guy. And then he said, I just booked the role, and he did not look like he's looking now. His wife was just pregnant with their first child, and we just helped him with the supplementation. He had 6 months to get ready for that role, maybe max 6 months. So we gave him all the nutrition advice and all the supplementation that he needed to know how to grow, because it's such a shitty time. It's very different than when we can take our time.
Right. Yeah. So as you said, you kind of do it all. Do you feel more like an actor who kind of became a creator, or a creator who just happens to act? How do you kind of combine those two worlds together?
Such a fine line. I always was a creator. Always, I remember when I was sitting waiting for winter kayaking, when you go to the pool and you learn all your Eskimo roles, and my sister and I were sitting there, and we just sitting and watching people. And that's really what acting is. You watch people, you watch their response, and then the creative flow came, and we just started writing improv sketches for it and what could happen, and then we created our own show and got to perform in Germany. But I always was a creative first.
Yeah. And being creative does take a lot of energy. So where do you go, like mentally, physically, spiritually, when you feel stuck creatively?
I believe in grounding. There's this book The One Command, that I highly recommend. It's by Asara Lovejoy, and it's called 6 Steps to Attract Wealth with the Power of Your Mind. Grounding is everything. And even before I read this book, I started grounding, which means manifesting, because our mind is our worst enemy. It will talk negative to us all day long because it wants to protect us, right? It wants to protect us from new things. And the unknown is really where the most growth happens. And when you're an actor, when you are stepping into a new you're stepping into the unknown. And it can be scary, it can be overwhelming, it can be, you have an imposter syndrome. So grounding and centering myself and speaking positively to me and putting it out there really helped a lot.
Yeah. And I need a new book, so I think I'm gonna start doing that one. I literally just finished my book this weekend and I'm like, I need a new one, so I'm gonna go get that. And so in addition to acting, you have a business party, the Party and Diet, and that is just the running wine mom, Party and Diet. As soon as I saw that, I thought, okay, I'm gonna love this girl.
Yeah.
And so obviously the name, it instantly makes people kind of go, huh? It's playful, but it's layered. What's the story behind it? How did the idea of it kind of take shape?
So I'm known, my nickname is KS365 or K because I'm always in shape all year long. But I do love a good party and I love
Yeah.
life and I love a good glass of champagne or wine and dancing and having fun. And I just figured out the balance. And I wrote a book called The Secret to Being Fit. It's free on my website. And I just believe in balance because who wants to just diet?
hmm Yeah, I
No, and you can have it both. It's just finding the balance. And I competed, and bodybuilding.com did an article on me about the night before I went on stage. I had Chinese food and I had my wine, and it was Friday. And I decided that morning I'm going to go on stage. And then I qualified for the nationals. So it's all about what you do during the week. And then on the weekends, I always had my fun. It's called the rotation diet. It's the oldest diet in the book. Call it the metabolic confusion diet or the keto diet. It's all the same thing. So we're just rotating carbs, and carbs means sugar, right? We're just rotating our sugars, either the complex sugars or simple sugars and or processed sugars. And that's just what I believe. I believe that we should be able to do it all.
Right. And that is my mindset as well, as you're saying that. And so, you said it's not about extremes, it's about the middle, which is what so many people think like they have to go through this extreme diet to live a certain way. So, can you kind of walk us through what does that actually look like in someone's real messy everyday life when they're not trying to become Thor?
So what does that look like for me? I'm a mom of two. I've had my kids, pretty much 100% all their life. And so I had to really figure out how do I work out and all of that. And I created 30-minute workouts. So I always lead with weights and make it a circuit. And if you do it efficiently, you can do a full body workout in 10 minutes. And I teach that as well. So if you do 10 minutes a day, 6 days a week, that's more than if you're doing 1 hour here and 1 hour there. And then it's all about when do you eat your sugars? I never start my day with sugar in now. I'm 52, I'm going to be 52. I'm 51. But when I was in my 30s and I had testosterone and all of that, my period still and all that, I could get away with more sugars during the week. I needed them. You're hit 40, 45, you're going through a menopause, you don't need them anymore. So you got to know who you are today and where you are, and then you can rotate your sugars. So I always usually stay really low on sugars Mondays to Thursdays, and then even Friday till noon. And then I might have we're going out to dinner, because you cannot destroy in one setting, in one meal, what you did all week. So if you are good all week, you can have the fun on the weekend. It's just when you're doing too much, right? When you're going overboard. So for instance, I do 4 meals a day, and I call it meal one, meal two, meal three, meal four. I don't call it breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I don't call it snacks. I call it meals. So they're packed with the nutrients that I need. I always lead with proteins, always have vegetables, and I go very low on carbohydrates, and I have really good fats. So I never try to combine high fats and high carbs together. I always do high proteins and high fats. So it all depends on where you are in your life and what is, let's say you are in your 40s, have teenagers in the house and you're running from one end to the next and you need to pack stuff. I always make sure I have turkey patties in my refrigerator I always make sure that I have my creatine, and I just have really easy go-to. I have a shake first thing in the morning. I have a detox tea with some lemon water in it before I have my first coffee, because it's very acidic. And so I'm trying to help my body to help the digestion and my liver to function at its best performance. And then I'm really careful with sugars now, especially now
Right.
that I'm full menopause. My body doesn't need as much sugar. And so
Hmm.
my main sugars I have from alcohol on the weekend, or I have a bagel and some cream cheese, or some couple slices of pizza or sushi, whatever. But I keep them usually for 2 days a week. And
Okay.
those are my fun days, as far as just letting loose. I don't count calories. I just make sure, but I do count proteins. I make sure that I get 1 gram of protein for every pound of my body that I want to weigh. So I'm at my ideal weight, and I'm 6'1". I'm 178 pounds. So I have to eat 178 grams of protein, and I do a lot of fat. Those olive oil, I just do a lot of fat. A big believer in fish, salmon are naturally high fat. And if I do vegan meals, I always be more conscious, because vegan meals tend to have more calories than,
Hmm.
carnivore meals. And so I rotate them as well. But if I eat a lot, big spinach salad, I need to eat a lot more than with some chickpeas in it and so on than I need when I do eggs or chicken or steak.
A lot of my listeners are, as you're saying, are perimenopause or menopause. Is there a supplement that you recommend that, like, as I feel as though a lot of people are trying to incorporate the protein, but there's something that's missing? Like, is there anything specific that you would recommend
So
for that?
I was a sponsored athlete, and I never liked shakes.
Hmm.
The only shake that I have ever found that I like was Arbonne's shakes.
Hmm.
They're plant-based. They have hemp protein or pea protein. I like the hemp one because they're a little more denser. And this has really helped me to pack. And I do 3 scoops. I get 36 grams of protein in there. And a shake, you can load it up with avocado. You can give it to my daughter too. It's great for the kids. Have a strawberry smoothie, banana,
Hmm.
chocolate smoothie, whatever. You can have a variety. And I always try to start with my day with really high protein and very low sugar. And then I have at lunchtime, I usually have like some rice or potato, or if I'm not carb depleting for whatever, like I'm going to the Tonys next week, so I'm going to be on the red carpet and I want to look decent,
Yeah.
I make sure that I stay really low on the sugar, but I always keep, if I do have it around lunchtime, because our brain needs carbs, our
Right.
energy, right? But we need energy. So we can't go completely away from it. So either you get it from carbs or from fats. So I go really high on fats. I'm a huge fan of cottage cheese.
Hmm.
It is such a slow release protein. It's a casein protein, which is excellent as a last meal of the day, because it burns really slow through the night, and it keeps your muscle, and it keeps you more satisfied. And I just put some berries in it. It's low glycemic. And then I do a lot of salmon. I'm a big fan of salmon. Steak is great too. I do creatine every single day, because we need the building blocks from the creatine for our cells, the aminos. And I do peptides. I have done copper peptide for myself treatment, which has helped me with my skin tone. And then I do boron. It's a supplement that helps you to absorb your nutrients better and your vitamins. So when we take magnesium, calcium, anything like that, when you take boron, it helps the body to absorb it much better. And then the next 2 supplements I actually find in the men's section, believe it or not. It's called DHEA. Any woman that goes to hormonal changes needs to have her DHEA-S tested. And that shows you where your balances are in your hormonal levels. And I take that every day. And I take NAD.
Okay.
Well, the
I just started hearing about NAD
yeah,
more.
if you want to have energy, you got to take NAD, and it's a cell repair, right? So the body naturally produces NAD, and until we are 35, and then it starts diminishing, male or female. And you can take supplements over the counter that help you to push more NAD activation in your body, and you will feel it. Your body starts heating up. You have more energy, or you can get NAD peptide shots, which I highly recommend as well. NAD is so important for cell renewal. And if you definitely then also have problems and are insulin sensitive, a prolonged fasting might be something for you
Prolong.
once or twice a year. You don't need to do it all the time, but we want to get the body to a state of insulin sensitivity. And the
Oh,
older we get, when we go through menopause, that stops, right? And so we'll get really, the body doesn't burn the sugars as easy anymore. We have to trick it into doing that. And by when you fast, you're actually tricking your body into it, or when you're lifting weights.
okay. And what does a prolonged fast, how long is that? Is that 24 hours?
72 hours. The
Okay.
first 24 hours, you do a water, teas, hydration sticks, of course. You want to have your nutrients in it. You want to have salt. I use Celtic salt. And you put a little bit on your tongue with the water. The body can absorb water much better when you have a little bit of salt in there. I get also reverse osmosis water, and I put some Celtic salt in it just to have my nutrients, and the body can absorb the water.
Okay.
And then the next day I do the water, and then I do bone broth. And if you
Okay.
are, bone broths are so good for collagen renewal, high in protein, low in calories, and I do that all day long, depending how much my body needs. I usually get 2 big jars, and I drink them all day long, and I put a little hot sauce in it,
Mm,
and you won't believe how much energy you have the second day. It's
wow.
amazing. People always think, oh, I'm going to be groggy, and only the first day, because the body has to now go in and use all the storage in your body of all the broken proteins. So autophagy is happening at that time, HGH levels raising, insulin sensitivity happens on the second day. And then on the third day, that's when I introduce proteins and vegetables. And I usually stay keto for 2 days after a prolonged fasting. And you can expect to drop 5 to 9 pounds in that week,
Wow.
because we tend to carry 5 to 7 pounds of fake fat. So if we're drinking alcohol, processed sugars, the body holds on to that. So now we're getting rid of all that spongy look that we have,
Hmm.
rid of that. And that's just the fake fat, we call it. And yeah, it's an amazing way to, if you have an event coming up to dial in for something, you need to fit in a bikini, prolonged fasting is the way to go.
Okay. I'm gonna add that in, into my routine. I'm thinking I'm just getting off of, the long weekend. I'm like, I definitely have a lot of that extra fat
Yeah, I
holding
teach
on.
my program, Fitness for the Busy Lifestyle, on my website, partyanddiet.com. It's I only charge 14.95. You can, and you, for all your listeners, you can have it for free for a month with Party 15 code. You can just try it out, see if you like it. I also show exercises that you can do in the workouts in 10 minutes from your home.
Okay.
I mean,
Wow.
we can do an exercise. If you think about it, if you put something in a microwave for 1 minute to warm up, you can do 20 squats in front of your microwave. You can do 10 push-ups, and you can do some vacuum twists, rotations to get the tightness of your core, all in 1 minute while you're waiting for your microwave to warm up.
Oh, wow. That's like, I love that.
You think about how we can incorporate just 1 minute here, one
Hmm.
minute. When you do vacuuming, you can do lunges while you're vacuuming.
Hmm.
While
Yeah.
you're at
Yeah.
work, you can go and get up every hour and just do some squats and push-ups, and you never get sweaty, but you're now activating the muscles in your body. You're building muscle, you're doing 5 rounds while you're at work, and nobody's going to look at you all weird because you're just moving and getting blood flow going.
Right. And, speaking of food, so many women carry shame around food. How do you kind of help the community unlearn that? And what's one food rule that you personally had to break?
Never overeat. Sophia Loren used to say that she ate whatever she wanted. She was always in great shape, but she said never overeat. Don't go for seconds,
Mm-hmm.
because our stomach is as big as our fist.
Mm-hmm.
And every time we overeat, we're stretching the stomach walls. And then we never eat to feel full, eat to nourish your body. And so never overeat. And I always say, don't, you want to be in balance. That means you want to have more good days than bad days. If you have more bad days than good days, you're going to overspill, right? So you got to be really honest with yourself and say, okay, I mean, I love to party, but at some point I got to dial it in and say, okay, enough is enough.
Right. Yeah. And then so your workouts, they don't just focus on movement, but on mood. So what role does emotional regulation kind of play in your approach to fitness?
You should always work out when you feel the best.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, always listen to your body because we can raise our cortisol level. And when we are in menopause or premenopause, we have to really be careful how we stress our body. The body only knows to survive. It doesn't
Mm-hmm.
know anything else. It knows to survive, repair, and be at its best if it's not stressed. When we stress it, it starts shutting things down. It raises its cortisol levels. That's why we can't do a lot of cardio anymore because it's really stressful. Testosterone used to help us to handle the stress from cardio. And that's why we think, oh, I get in shape so fast. Well, actually, running is the most stressful thing you can do to a human body. Yes, does it get you into shape fast? Yes, it used to dial my legs in really fast. But now I have to do short sprints. 20
Mm-hmm.
second high intensity, 2 minute low intensity will actually help the body more and stress it less. And you have more effects and better results from that. So knowing when you feel the best, get your women actually need 9 to 10 hours of sleep,
Wow.
not 6 to 8 like they have done studies on. Most studies have been done on men, not on women. And we have been told, you don't need a lot of sleep. Yes, we do. We need sleep. And
Mm-hmm.
it's okay to say no and take care of yourself. Get your naps in. I nap every day for 20 minutes. And if you can't take a nap, try to get your sleep in at night.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I always say 10 minutes a day is better than nothing.
Right.
And you
Yeah.
can do a full body workout with 10 minutes. If you do that 6 days a week, the body loves a routine. Every single day, do the same thing, and the body will love it. Now, if you just a yo-yo and you're here and there, the body will show that, and it will stress the body. So I always say, work out when you feel the best. For most people, feel the best around 10 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
You can, right? Fit it in your schedule. If you can't do it at 10 o'clock and you have to do it at night, make sure you do weights first and not go to cardio. Weight, it's always the winner to weight training because you're building strong muscles, you're building thicker bones, you're building more circulation in your body, and you're creating autophagy in your body, which makes you insulin sensitive, cell repair, and so on. Well, when you do cardio, it just stresses the body. Body needs 20 minutes to get into fat burn when you do it at night. Then when you're first thing in the morning, you're already in fat burn because you're on an empty stomach.
Right.
And then you have to be really careful in the morning is that if you want to do workouts first thing in the morning, you say you feel really good. You have a 30-minute to 1 hour window in the morning to work out. And then you need to feed your body. You
Okay.
can't go and do 2 hours of not eating. And because now your body's stressing, your cortisol levels are going up. And I have so many people saying to me, but I don't eat. I said, well, that's the problem.
Right.
So when you eat first thing in the morning, it's a 30-30-30 rule. 30 minutes awakening, 30 minutes of workout, 30 grams of protein.
Okay.
And your body will be happy. But you have that 1 hour window. If you have to wait 1 hour and you can't get to the food or whatever, make sure you either have a shake ready, a turkey patty, or whatever you're having, like a burger patty
Mm-hmm.
or cottage cheese. Have that in that first hour if you can't work out because your body needs the protein and you will lower the cortisol levels.
Yeah, I know that's a definitely a word that I hear a lot is the cortisol. I know when I got my blood work done, my cortisol was high. And I have PCOS, so that's insulin resistance. So it's like I feel like I'm always trying to like figure out a puzzle of what do I do. But I think, the protein is such a lot of people can just it's so easy. I've never really heard it explained like just a pound for every or a gram for every pound that you are. I think that's really helpful for people to kind of understand and make it easy, not as hard, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, the body is math, really,
Yeah.
but so if you're 145 pounds, you need to get 145 grams of protein in your body. And the easiest way is a shake because you can just
Hmm.
load it up,
Yeah.
Cottage cheese is one of the easiest ways. One container of cottage cheese is 56 grams of protein. I put some
Wow.
berries on it. I just had some right before, and it's so easy and fast to eat. I can eat that in the car while I'm dropping off the kids.
Yeah. That's awesome. As we get older, injuries occur. What do you do if you are injured? A lot of people just kind of stop and think that they have to. What's your advice for that?
Don't stop. Injuries are an obstacle, And you have to, of course, baby it. I had a second-degree MCL tear. I had a second-degree patella tear from people falling on me and just by accident. And I worked out through all of them. Blood flow to the injury is very important because it will heal your injured area faster. And specific exercises, which I also teach in my workouts, are very important to create a stronger joint and muscle vacuum around the injured area. So when you have a rotator issue, it can actually, a partial tear in it, you can actually make that joint stronger.
Mm,
Same with your lower back. You have to work around it, yes, but I never ever stop. Because the hardest thing for anybody is to start a new routine. And when
hmm
you stop, to get back into it is way harder than staying in it. So don't stop if you have an injury. And if you're new, I had a gentleman, he's 93 when he started working out with me. And he did that because he was falling and hurting himself. And now he does side shuffles and squats with presses over his head. And he's 95. And
Wow.
he has actually a fully torn shoulder injury that needs to be repaired, which I cannot help him with. But what I can do is I can make the muscles around it stronger so he can maneuver with that. So he can still lift the arms and bicep curls and all of that. But I always say, don't stop. And if you want to start with 5 minutes a day. There's actually a trick that I do with all of my new clients is that when they're not used to a new routine, because everything is routine, everything is a program that we do daily. When we wake up, when we go to bed, how we do things, everything is programmed. To start a new program, start with 5 minutes, set a timer. Let's say you want to work out every day. Start with 5 minutes, same time every day if you can. And you have to set a timer for 5 minutes. Work out in those 5 minutes. And when the 5 minutes are up, you have to stop. You do that for 2 weeks. Now the body craves it.
Mm.
Read it in the program without having to think, oh, I have to do an hour or I have to do this. Just start with 5 minutes a day.
Wow. Yeah, because I'm thinking, oh, if I had to like stop exactly at 5, I'd be like, wait, I want to keep going. So that is really helpful so that's great advice. That's wonderful. Wow. So you've given us so much information. I took so many notes for myself personally, so I know everybody listening learned so much. But as a final question, if you could whisper something to every woman or man listening right now, something they may really need to hear today, what would you say to them?
You are very unique and there's nobody like you ever going to be. So embrace who you are and love what you have. If you are a person that can walk out the door and can walk and move, that is an accomplishment in itself. You know, I think we are not living enough in gratitude of where we are today.
Hmm
Because 10 years from now, you're going to look back and say to that person, what was wrong with you for beating yourself up? Because you are just perfect the way you are. And just try your best of who you well,
Yeah, that's great. And that's the perfect way to end it. So that's going to bring us to the end of another episode of The Running Wine Mom. Kirsten, thank you. This conversation was everything honest, hilarious, a little bit holy to everyone listening, whether you are in your party era, your healing era, or somewhere in between. Just know you are not alone in the middle. So thank you so much for coming on.
cheers to that.
Yes. As always, thank you for spending time with us on The Running Wine Mom. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a review if you loved it, and share this episode with a mom who needs to hear it. You can follow me on Instagram at The Running Wine Mom _. And Kirsten, where can the listeners find you?
You can find me right now on HBO in The Righteous Gemstones, and I'm just wrapped up another HBO TV show with Rachel Sonnet, and that's going to come out next year. And of
Awesome.
course, on my website, partyanddiet.com.
Yes, and I will link all of that. So thank you so much for joining us today. Remember, you are strong, you are capable, and you are all amazing. Until next time, keep running, keep sipping, and keep embracing the joy of motherhood. Cheers, and I will be back next Tuesday.